Hey, what's up, trash talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
Here is a firm believer in all men are created equal, but not all men live equal. That is why there's a certain select number of people in the DoD who decided to jump out of airplanes. And yes, we are better than you. 100%. Now, don't be the first triggered pansy to say, well, airborne's not relevant. You haven't jumped since World War II. Well, that's not accurate, for one. And two, it's like having a jalopy or a 68 Mustang. Well, a 68 Mustang's no longer relevant. Doesn't matter. It's still a better car than yours. So take it easy this National Airborne Day and just accept that we are better than you.
So, two things for today's Honesty Cap. First thing, how do all my boys from the 101st feel knowing that the Army decided that instead of actually making you airborne, they would just create a whole new division that's airborne because you just aren't cutting it? It sucks. Thing number two, for all the folks that were like, oh, airborne is irrelevant, doesn't even matter. They're making a whole new division of just airborne people because they're relevant. Think about that. How's that feel? Does that hurt a little bit? I hope it hurts a little bit.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
What's up, trash talkers? How you doing, Gruntworks Nation? We lost Tom. He went.
Where did
dark
Tom
on
go?
us. I don't know. He went dark on us.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. We just can't see you,
We
Tom.
can hear you. Damn it, Tom. What'd you do? This is why we redid the show, because
This is why we can't have nice things.
we can't have nice things.
I didn't touch anything.
Oh
What
my
the
gosh.
You got me kidding.
Tom's,
me.
Maybe you should.
Tom's sitting there playing solitaire is what it is. He just doesn't want us to see it.
You got to be kidding me.
You gotta, it's the same suit, right? And then it's the number underneath it, Tom. And then just get off of it. Like,
God
18?
almighty, man. You gotta be
Exit and
kidding
come back in, Tom. It should fix
me.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm fixing to do.
All right. Well, anyway, hey, what's going on, everybody? How you been? It's been a little bit.
great. I mean, we have everybody in a location that has internet, and we can text to them.
And they're not mobile. So
They're not mobile. Yeah, Jerry was driving with his buddy last time.
Tom did something.
Tom's kind of back.
Kind of bad.
So your videos, your camera's working. You have it blocked. You just have your camera blocked.
Yeah, it turned around, it pivoted around to the other side. So you can see
there
it.
you go. Oh, that is.
No, I got to figure out how
man.
to turn it back around. What the hell?
What did you say about not being able to
every
make fun of
time-
boomers? Is that we're still?
Don't make fun of boomers. He's not a boomer. He's a Gen Xer.
Right.
So, but again, the reason why, we try to say like NCOs can do things, and then this is what happens. Like this is.
It's like once they hit E7, they just stop being able to do things.
Right. It's like we try to take over the Army, and then this is what happens. I was gonna write a journal about how the American society, everybody can read now, and for the most part,
Not true.
And I was like, the officer used to be like the guy that could read. And it's like, so eventually, like, you don't really need officers anymore, like, because people can think. And then we got Tom.
Here we are.
Yeah, well, you say that, and then you hang out with a bunch of enlisted guys for a little bit, and you're like, oh, that's why.
I'm sure General Kline knows this, but
There it is.
Yeah.
there was doctrine written a long time ago that said, "Be careful of the NCO. He is stupid, but it's actually in doctrine. Like, he's stupid, but like
it was actually something that was taught. The British Army wrote it in their manuals.
Yeah.
It was taught at West Point for a little while. They're great, but they're shifty, and they won't tell you.
Yeah, they're shifty. That's what it was. Yeah, they're shifty.
Yeah.
Watch out for them.
And it's hurtful, but it's true.
It is true.
Yeah, it's not that it's a lie. Sometimes the truth does.
It's a good shifty.
Yeah, we are shifty.
Well, this is take 2 here. We've got a couple great guys. We got Major General Kline, the Shaw of comedy here. Sergeant Major Campbell, and we have Jerry. We're going to give Jerry his just dues. He deserves it. But as always, we start this dumpster fire with a conspiracy. And since I was thrown this objective late.
Yeah, Dave's sick. Dave, where are you? Wake up.
Dave, the face man, the pretty guy, his genes, they went all to his
only
looks.
job is to be on screen and not say anything.
His weak genes, he can't handle it.
Because he can't talk. It's like nobody cares.
You're just supposed to look pretty.
Yeah.
So we got an interesting one to me. I mean, I find it interesting, and it kind of ties into like everything else going on right now. It's called the Mars theory. And we're going to watch a little short 1-minute clip here, and then we'll discuss.
Did you know that Mars was the original planet where humans were from? Listen closely, this is both fascinating and eerie. There's a theory suggesting that Mars was once home to a thriving civilization, possibly our ancestors, but something catastrophic occurred, forcing them to flee and find refuge on another planet, Earth. The element xenon, found on Mars, is typically only detected on Earth following a nuclear explosion, leading to speculations of a nuclear war that devastated the Martian civilization. But the survivors managed to escape just in time, landing on Earth, and had to restart civilization from nothing. So when we talk about aliens, we might be referring to distant relatives. The theory even suggests that the drastic climate change and barren landscapes of Mars are the aftermath of this catastrophic event. And here's where it gets even crazier. Some believe that the ancient structures and artifacts found on Earth might be the remnants of the knowledge that these Martian ancestors brought with them. Pyramids, ancient texts, technological advancements in ancient times. Could all these be the legacy left behind by a civilization that once thrived on another planet?
So basically they're saying we're the aliens. And all this stuff coming out now with Congress, they're finding aliens in the ocean. I don't know. I think that could be the case. They've said they've found signs of water on Mars before. There's a lot there. So let's kick it off with the guest. Jerry, what do you think?
I think there's aliens walking around here now on the planet. Okay. I believe that we probably came from another planet, and I believe it's possible. I mean, they're discovering new planets every year that they never knew existed.
Okay. So you think
100%
we're
accurate.
actually Martians then?
We could be Martian.
General, what do you think there, sir?
I think that when Mars exploded or whatever, they decided to land on Earth because it was easier because it's flat.
There it is.
Oh my, that is conspiracy melded with another.
We need to mark this time, stamp down.
That's the kind of thing that only a general can do.
That is, he went outside the spectrum and just came up with the truth.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
Marked.
I don't know if we've ever had an answer that was.
I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
I don't know if we came from Mars or not. I mean, there's got to be more life out there in the universe other than Earth. I mean, but I don't know. I think it'd be too simple if we came from Mars. It's got to be more complex than that.
Well, why?
Yeah.
Because everything's complex. You can't.
Is it though?
I think we make everything more complex.
Minus killing deer. Killing deer is easy. But.
I mean, I killed my first hunting trip. I killed a deer with a bow. I was going meh, meh, the whole time. You just gotta call him in, Tom.
Buddy looks like he's studying something. Let's what do you got, buddy?
So coincidentally, last week I went to the Marshall Space Flight Center. Not a huge deal. Conspiracy, maybe. We don't know. But I have a video kind of shows you you going through the galaxies and the universe and all that stuff. So you look up in the night sky, you see like billions of stars. So in our galaxy, there are billions of stars. Each of those stars has their own planets that are orbiting those stars.
Revolving.
There are trillions of galaxies that they've found so far. So just the math, there's guaranteed somebody else out there. Also, they go through each of the planets, and then they haven't found signs of water. There is water on Mars. There's like frozen ice caps. But there's also basins where you can see that the erosion happened due to water. And they're saying that the reason that there's no water on Mars currently, or the water has dissipated to a point that it has dissipated to, is because at some point it lost the atmosphere to contain the water, and it all kind of went into space at some point.
Well, couldn't a nuclear
something maybe
catastrophic event like they're talking about cause that?
What I'm saying is that it is very possible that there were people on Mars at some point, and then they came to then they just kept, but maybe there were people on Earth and on Mars, and they talked to each other, and they were like, hey, we're going to blow this place up and bounce because we don't like the Andronica strain of people. They got COVID. They just blew the whole place up. They just burned it down. And then they came to the flat Earth because it was easier to land on. Boom. And then that's how we got here. They made some pyramids. They were like, hey, they were probably
a bad virus. So their technology was to kill everybody.
Then they were like, I'm going to burn this mother down, and then we're going to bounce. And that's what they did. There you go. That's my theory. Correct. We were from Mars. I do think, though, that there's a chance that we have enough issues here that we should probably stop worrying about where we came from, because we can't figure it out at this point. Like, maybe we should concentrate on how not to ruin this one. You know what I mean? Like, we moved from a mansion to an apartment, and now we're ruining the apartment. We should probably figure that out. Right?
So it's real.
Of course it is. Everybody knows that. Science. Just throw that
science.
Trust the science.
Yeah.
You gotta trust
you said it.
As we move.
And again, I like that I get to go last because I'll give a shout out to Letha.
One other thing I would like to point
one
out.
other thing. Sorry.
I would like to have seen the U-Haul that we used. That had to have been
as a big one.
At least a 48-footer.
Do you think they did flat rate, or did they pay by the mile?
We got the biggest U-Haul that you can get, and we probably didn't get our deposit back.
Well, hey, if you remember in the video, they said that we had to start from scratch, so we didn't even have a U-Haul.
I mean, we had to have something.
We left it all behind.
Okay, but we brought something.
People.
Maybe.
Martians. Aliens.
Well, they're not Martians anymore. Now they're just us.
They're
Earthicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that I get to go last every time. Again, I've said it every show that, you know, I'll give a shout out to Letha, who's our only sober admin on her page. She is the VTT's voice of reason. Shout out to her. When she comments, do not disrespect her. You will be kicked off the page because, again, she's the only sober one on it. Air Force veteran too, so she's smarter. But I get to be the voice of reason on these conspiracies because I am the most educated one from the Yale, the Southwest, buddy. Yeah, UTEP.
Harvard of the Southeast. So
just saying. So like, I get, and I always go back to Hollywood, and I think you guys all touched on it. Hollywood desensitizes us from the truth. So they put it in movies so that we're like, oh, that shit's not real. All right. But I want you to think about Superman. How did Superman start? They blew up their planet. Krypton blew up. They sent him, right, to another planet. Right? We have the flat earthers. Oh, that's so stupid. Is our Earth really flat? No, but there's.
You don't want to say that too loud.
Right, but there's truth
right there.
behind it.
He can hear
because, and we just saw a movie with Channing Tatum about NASA and faking the moon landing so that we could watch it on TV for advertising. Do you know anybody that's actually been to space? I don't.
I mean,
maybe General Kline does.
I feel like just saying that you don't know anybody that's been to space. Like, I don't know anybody that's been to Antarctica, but
I do know somebody that's been to Antarctica, actually.
Well, you do, but I don't.
Yeah.
So if that is our standard, you have to know somebody that's been there.
I'm just saying, like, who goes to space?
What do you think Neil Armstrong's payoff was this whole time to not tell the truth?
I'm saying that it does exist. This is 100% real. And that Hollywood has desensitized us to it not being real so that we don't. Like, Dave talks about this because he's sick. He's not on the show. But the government literally came out and said aliens exist and nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Like, literally nobody cared.
All the shows, X-Files, all those years.
Maybe he's not on the show because he's
in
not
space.
used to all these alien bacteria that have gotten him. He might be a new guy. We don't know. Did you know Dave when he was in Germany?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Was Dave?
Yeah, I mean, how does this guy? Let's talk about Dave because he's not here, and it's appropriate.
Yep.
He says he was raised in Germany for 18 years. He was a rapper in Germany.
Interesting backstory.
A German teen pop star in Germany.
And then he joins the infantry. Gets shot in the ear, which his drill sergeant said would happen because his ears are massive, and he actually got shot in the ear.
I mean, that's factual though.
Dave and Trump.
Yeah.
His ears are huge.
He is, and then he quits being infantry and goes recruiter. And he still looks the same. Does anybody notice that? If you look at Dave now and then Dave 20 years ago, he looks exactly the same. Dave's a fucking alien.
Hasn't even changed haircuts.
Skynet.
No. So
robots.
I know why he's desensitizing us by talking about these conspiracies. Like, let's just.
He does love aliens.
Yeah. I mean, he is one. So it's 100%. It's 100% true. And Hollywood has shown us this. Like,
we're live, Dave. Like, you could comment to help boost it instead of just messaging our private group.
Yeah,
Dave is messaging our private group. Hey, you can
maybe sign on, Dave. Defend yourself.
Different languages, but all of the languages he speaks,
nobody else does.
That are from those areas don't understand him.
Yeah, it's weird. He says he speaks 3 languages, and then nobody can understand what he's saying when he's talking.
Yeah.
I think he's speaking Kline.
Yeah, I feel like those different languages are all.
Tom got what I'm saying. Tom's a Star Trek guy.
Yeah.
So, well, that's it. It's real. It's 100% real. Okay. None of us. We've all been brainwashed to think that we're the coolest people on the planet. We are because we're on the planet.
We are,
but we're not the coolest people. We're not.
All right. So next we got Buddy's honesty cap. After that conspiracy, better bring it, Buddy.
Thanks, Chris. I like that you put me on the spot, and then
It's
also,
not really the spot.
it sounded like a semi-threat, not a huge deal, but whatever. Anyway, so I don't know if
You
you
tend
guys
to do the
have been
best this way.
watching, the stuff that has started to come out about Tim Kennedy and Marcus Luttrell and all the special operations guys. That it turns
We're just
out
talking about this.
maybe
Nick?
their stories weren't as true as they made them seem. And so my honesty cap is dedicated to a little, we'll call it a public service announcement for civilians and other people in the military. There are a few people that you should always take their stories with a grain of salt. Vegans, CrossFitters, and special operations guys that tell you that they were special operations without being prompted. The first thing they say is, yeah, I used to be soft, right? The only unicorn in that entire group is like a special operations guy that was like a vegan and did CrossFit. That guy's probably going to stay quiet for a little bit longer because he's confused as what he should talk about first. And that's the only reason. Right? Anybody that says that they were soft without being prompted or without it being like a normal part of your communications is probably either an enabler or going to tell you a bunch of stuff that's not exactly true. The motto is the quiet professional. So if they start off with not being quiet, they're probably also not professional. And everything they say after, well, I used to be soft, is probably going to be some bullshit. So don't fucking believe them. Don't give them money. Don't support their causes if the first thing they say is I was a Ranger sniper, airborne special forces, space shuttle door gunner. That's probably everything after that not going to be true either. And the thing that's mind-blowing about like the Marcus Luttrell thing, first of all, if you've ever watched the movie or read the book, Lone Survivor, absolutely everything in that book is the dumbest tactical shit that has ever happened on the face of the planet. And the fact that the Navy, all the people in the Navy, none of them read the script that they wrote and said, you know, that makes us look real stupid. You know that we probably shouldn't. Let's not say that they were just like hiding behind a tree in their hide site. Like, I hope nobody sees me because I'm not going to go subsurface or put any camouflage on or anything. I'm just going to sit here Wile E. Coyote style waiting for the Roadrunner to come by with my Acme anvil and try to drop it on people. Like, that's your whole plan. The fact that we made a whole book and a whole movie about that is mind-blowing to me. Everything about that story is crazy and probably should not be advertising. The Tim Kennedy thing. Absolutely everything that comes out of that guy's mouth sounds like something that you would talk to somebody in a bar and go, oh, well, this guy thinks that he's awesome, and he's probably not as awesome as he's saying that he is. Like, we don't generally, most of like the
You're
most
triggered right now.
guys,
You're triggered just thinking about it.
Yeah, well, most of the soft guys that I know, that's not what they want to talk about. That's not like it's even they want to talk about anything else other than their special operations experiences with people that aren't special operations, because there's a language barrier that people can't quite understand. So it's kind of pointless to talk. But to say that you had a rucksack full of 50 grenades that you were running around throwing in buildings. What? I've never seen 50 grenades at one time in my life, ever. I've done a lot of like running around doing combat.
You were in a drag race with Russians in Syria, and you still didn't have 50 grenades.
Anywho, in the spirit of the honesty cap, that's not true. I was not in a drag race with Russians.
Yes, you were.
I do know the guy that flipped that MRAP over, though. Anywho, he is also an idiot and also probably a person that if he started talking, you shouldn't believe anything he says after the first couple of sentences.
Except that he drag raced Russians.
Public service announcement is if you meet a vegan, a CrossFitter, or a soft guy that says that he's soft without being prompted, don't believe him. It's probably not true. They're not as cool as you want them to, as they want you to think they are. So there you go. That's the honesty cap.
No,
anybody wants to throw out a thought, it's fine.
And I'll give it to the guests here to throw out a thought because it's actually a good segue into the actual reason why we're on the show. But I got to get my 2 cents in because I started a podcast and I love to talk. So like I got to do it. But it reminds me of when Hoot was on the show.
Yeah.
Right. You got Norman Hooten on the show. And I was like, hey, I used to tell Black Hawk Down stories in the bar before I was even in the Army. Mm-hmm. Like I would tell people like, hey man, like I was like, slitting Somalis' throats, it's like as a joke. And I go, did it ever occur to you that like that people were stealing your shit? And he goes, yeah. He's like, I was contracting in Kuwait when the GWAT kicked off and somebody said they were on Chalk 4 in this group of trainees. And like somebody comes in to me and says, whatever.
Let's see, were you there?
Whatever. Yeah. Like fucking somebody comes in and is like, hey, who? Like somebody was in Somalia with you in this fucking platoon over here. It's like who walks over there? You're like 27,
crazy thing
dude.
is the truth is generally fine. Like the truth will suffice. Like there's no reason to church it up. Just tell the truth and you'll be fine.
Joe Dirte.
If you were in Iraq or Afghanistan and all you did was check ID cards at the chow hall, then just say, yeah, I was there. I checked ID cards at the chow hall. Cool. You still did more than 99% of the rest of America. You're still good. You don't have to like, oh yeah, man, there I was sitting in Iraq and at salsa night when all of a sudden
that's where you were at Spiker.
I was.
Yeah. Salsa? We're sitting here slugging it out in Samara, and you're in Spiker doing
even
salsa
worse
night.
Than that,
you guys had bus lines there.
Yeah.
Even worse than that, colored bus lines.
I would go to the shopette that you peasants weren't allowed in, and I would buy salsa to take with me to salsa night and just salsa while salsaing. It was insane. Great time. It was
nice. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the stolen valor churching up stuff?
I love them. I love those guys when I'm in the bar. When they start opening their fat mouth, I will act like I'm gullible as a teenage girl. And I would lure them in just to keep embellishing until I run out of time, and then I'll smack them down. I love those guys. And there's always that guy in the bar, no matter where you go, or not even in a bar, in any social setting. There's always that guy, man. And as soon as they open their fat mouth, oh man, I will reel them in. I don't know. It's a hobby of mine. I don't know what.
I was going to say, humility goes.
Sitting in your tree stand going, Pat. And they come.
At least I make fun of myself, buddy. All right, I am the deer whisperer. Okay, Sir, what do you think about that?
I was going to say, I'm not even sure what to think of this whole conversation, frankly, but
the dumpster fire.
The humility goes, and I wish I could read the speech balloon above Jerry's head right now. He's probably wondering what did I get myself into? But humility goes a long way. But now that I heard Tom describe luring folks in, I want to be sitting next to Tom in the bar while he's doing that because I think I'd get a lot of fun out of that. And I don't even know what to say about the vegans. I'm of the same tribe as Tom, so you see his backdrop. I eat a lot of the small, fuzzy, cuddly animals, and they taste good. So.
All right. No, it's a great segue into why we tried the show last time, and now we got everybody on. It's a truly tremendous story, and we're all part of it at a certain extent because of what Buddy just said about talking about like stolen valor and why lie. And we have buddies in 2P that we have one that I always comment that should have got a Medal of Honor, and he got a Distinguished Service Cross. And it's like every time I comment on that, retired General Luong comments right underneath me and says, "I bring it up every year. I bring it up every year." And it's like, if that guy that should get the Medal of Honor doesn't make anything up. He doesn't have to, right? He just did his job, and he did it something that is ridiculous, that the situation he was in, and we don't need to get into that because we're going to get into another one where it's like, in the moment it happens, who tells the story? Who says what happened? How do we know the truth? So again, pleasure to introduce General Kline, Sergeant Major retired Campbell, and then Jerry. Did you get out as a specialist, Jerry?
Yes, I was put in for sergeant. Excuse my voice, I'm a little sick. But I was put in for sergeant a few times. But as you know, the allocations for rank sometimes. You see clerks and jerks sitting behind a desk wearing sergeant stripes. But anyway, yeah, I got out as a Spec 4.
Nice.
Best
nice.
rank in the Army.
And again, now you get sergeant just for breathing. So it's legit. So Jerry, welcome again back to the dumpster fire that is Veteran Trash Talk. Welcome, General Kline. Welcome, Sergeant Major Campbell. Jerry, we'll open it up with you. Let us know why we're all on here and what transpired and how, what happened.
Well, on April 2nd, 1970, actually the day before, we're on a stand down. Sometimes we come in for a couple days a month and get showers and stuff. So our stand down was cut down to one day. We got pulled in to go out on helicopters and to support a base that was attacked. We were a blocking force, and the first platoon I was in of the 2nd 27th Wolfhounds. Our company,
Cacti, by the way, left-hand
company
eye,
was
so.
there as a blocking force, and half our platoon went with 2nd platoon, and our part of platoon I was in, we stayed with the CP that night, but the 2nd platoon popped an ambush, and there was a few people killed that night, and so that night, no sleep, no food the next day. We were called upon probably about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning to go out to an area called Renegade Wood, which I was never there before. In 3 Corps area of South Vietnam, close to the Van Cong Dong River, very close to Cambodia. And we were sent there to rescue Army Rangers who were sent there because it was they thought there was a buildup of NVA forces. And we were sent there they weren't heard from so many hours. And so they only had 3 helicopters at the time, and they flew in my platoon, the 1st platoon. Our first lieutenant name was Ronnie Clark. He put us in 2 columns, and I was in the right column. There was point man Mickey Griffith and Lieutenant Clark, Ronnie Clark, and his radio man, and then me. We were there probably about 10 minutes, and he told us he got the okay to move out, and immediately we're ambushed by machine gun, small arms fire. The point man in my column was rattled with machine gun bullets. I started attacking the position where the fire was coming from, and on my way there, Lieutenant Clark was hunched over. He just got shot in the stomach with the initial burst of fire. I grabbed Lieutenant Clark and started dragging him out of the kill zone, and I got shot through the ear and through the side of the head. It's the force of the bullet spun me around. I pulled out a hand grenade and threw it in the machine gun and took out the machine gun that took out and killed some of our soldiers.
Yeah, Jerry, thanks for doing that. And there's a lot of people that watch this show, and we have a lot of people from your generation, a lot of heroes from your generation that watch this show. It's actually our largest demographic. So I guarantee you just helped a lot of people sharing that story that are listening to this podcast later or watching it now. Yeah, like we tried to hear it last time, so I'm glad. Like it hits hard, and I'm sure everybody else knows this as well. It hits hard with what you just shared and how hard it is to share that. And what I want to now turn it over to General Kline and Sergeant Major Campbell about is what did that do to you guys when you heard it, and then what transpired after that?
Yeah, I'll start off with. So I was in Philadelphia doing a speaking engagement on help-seeking behaviors, and that's where I met Jerry. And I was told about Jerry from Jerry, you're going to have to help. His name just popped out of my head.
Joe Griffiths.
Joe Griffey. Had told me about Jerry, and Joe Griffey does a radio show, a Welcome Home Vet radio show up there. And so when we got done, Joe said, "Hey, let me introduce you to Jerry." So he introduced me to Jerry, and Jerry shared that story with me. And I told so what happened after that fight is where it got really screwy, because of course Jerry was evac'd out because of a head injury from a gunshot wound, and his whole platoon basically that company had to get reconstituted. So there's a lot of shuffle. The XO became the acting commander while they were reshuffling the company. That lieutenant had put Jerry in for, and I believe, Jerry, if you correct me if I'm wrong, a Medal of Honor, and somewhere that got lost. And then later it was determined that he didn't have an assumption of command orders, and so the packet never went through. Well, with Jerry being evac'd out of country with his head injury, then it's kind of like, which we all saw it in Iraq and Afghanistan, guys that we evac'd out, and then they don't get forgotten about, but they get lost in the paper shuffles, and then we find out later they didn't get awards and what have you, and that's what happened to Jerry. So the only award
let me clarify something, okay? I came back to the company about 5 or 6 days later. I was suffering from traumatic brain injury, vertigo, tinnitus. My ear kept ringing, so they reassigned me to the motor pool. Okay, I didn't say I want to go home. I stayed there and for my full tour. And when I came back to the company, the senior echelon people said to me, "We know what you did. You're being put for a very high valor award." At that time, our company was decimated. All the officers in the company were killed or wounded. NCOs were killed. There was 4 guys in my platoon killed and 12 wounded, including myself. So, and after the company got rebuilt 2 weeks later, we're in Cambodia. Not me, but the company's in Cambodia. So the only thing I could think of is either they lost my paperwork or never put it in. And I was given a Purple Heart formation a month later, but no other award. Everybody in my platoon got at least Bronze Star for Valor. The point man in the left column who got killed got a Distinguished Service Cross. The point man in the right column got a Silver Star. I got nothing. So I just forgot about it, and years went by, and we started going to reunions, and all this came out again. And the people in my platoon were astounded that I never received anything. So my platoon sergeant, who lives in North Carolina, and my XO, who lives in Hawaii, they then did the paperwork to put me in for the Medal of Honor. And it was put in my congressional people. And when it went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, they said the same thing over and over again, that my lieutenant, who was my XO, he was my former platoon leader, knew me very well. said that he wasn't in a command position. I don't know how an XO who came out to the field 2 hours later in the battle is not in a command position. I don't understand it. But so congressional people went back to Fort Knox again, and they said the same thing. So then I met retired Command Sergeant Major Tom Campbell at a Veterans Military Basketball Association game where we sing for a hobby. In my group, we sang the Star Spangled Banner that day at the basketball game. And I told Tom my story, and then I sent him all the paperwork. Okay, Tom, you can take it from here.
Okay, yeah. And so one, I was kind of astonished that all he got was a Purple Heart out of that fight, and so when I got back and Jerry sent me the packet and I read through the packet, I can't remember, General Kline, if you can remember, I think it was 200 and something pages or more.
177, I think.
Yeah. And so I mean, it was a very thick packet, but in that packet though was also Father Jim, who's a priest there in Philadelphia and phenomenal guy. He wrote a book about Renegade Woods and interviewed not just Jerry, but other members of that platoon, some of them who have passed away since then, and did a lot. I think it was 3 years, Jerry, that he spent fact digging.
Well, it was a couple of years. It was during the COVID era. It was very hard. He interviewed the people in my platoon. He interviewed the eyewitness, George Weldon, that was from South Philadelphia. Now he lives in Maryland. He's the eyewitness. He got sworn letters of testimony from also the medic who treated me in the field, and also from my platoon sergeant Jerry Baddeley, and my XO First Lieutenant Ty Weiser got sworn letters of testimony from them, and that was in the packet to my Senator Bob Casey at the time. And you know, all even with all that paperwork, which is actually the official after action report that wasn't open to the public until a few years ago, and then everything started to happen when I met Tom.
And it's a fascinating story that about Renegade Woods that Father Jim put together, and the story. I mean, and it's all based off of facts that he was able to gather. So when I got it all together, that's when I got a hold of General Kline, and I said, "Hey, you've got to read this guy's story." And I really would like to be able to do something for this guy and get him recognized for what he did. And again, I mean, and I always say whenever I speak at Veterans Day events and what have you is, I mean, in reality, we don't think we're heroes because we were asked to do a job. And we did that job the best we knew how. And I think Jerry is a prime example of that statement. Is he did his job the best that he knew how. It just, as you said earlier, Nick, that the circumstances there, it was above and beyond the call of duty. And so I got with General Kline to get advice. I mean, how should I go about attacking this thing? And that's when we hit it with a 2-pronged fork. Of course, General Kline through the GO channels, and then I went through the records branch at HRC, and was able to get this together. And so Colonel, oh crap, I done forgot his name too. Now that was working with me on this at HRC. When he got the packet, he goes, "Oh, this is we can definitely get him a Valor Award. I can't tell you what a Valor Award. We can definitely get him a Valor Award with this." And so he took it and started running it through the wickets at HRC. And then he called me back. I don't know, it's probably, I don't know what, a month later or so. And it said, "Hey, look, I can guarantee a Bronze Star of Valor right now. And so anything above that, it's going to take quite a while to get through, but it'll be easier if we was able to, let's get him a Valor Award and then that can get upgraded later. But at least we get something and recognize him to him right now. And so that's what happened. So we was able to score that Bronze Star of Valor. And when they sent all the awards to me, and unlike the Bronze Stars that we received, though, I mean, they sent a Bronze Star with Jerry's name etched in the back of it, the orders and what have you. And that's when we got with me and General Kline didn't come up with a plan to be able to award this to him. And I'll turn it over to General Kline.
Yeah, I think you summarized it well. I think when I read the packet, Tom and I are very close, right? We spend a lot of time hunting, fishing, everything. And so when Tom gets on the net, it gets my attention. And he sends the text, and then he sends this email. And I'm thinking it's going to be, about a 10-pager or something like that max. And it's not. It's all one PDF that's been strung together. And I'm just page and page and page and page in, and then I senatorial stuff that's in there. I see all the other statements, sworn statements from everybody that was on the ground, and I'm just thinking, how the hell did this not make it through? And like probably everybody here with us today and anybody listening, when you finally get into a position where you can break through barriers, it gives you great pride to do it. It's like nothing is more satisfying than getting the shears out and cutting through the red tape, especially when you've endured so many years. I'm coming on 33 years. You just seen people over the years that either were forgotten or otherwise. And in this particular case, we were talking earlier, at the same level of frustration when we see somebody that has stolen valor is when somebody has got forgotten valor. And, how does something like this slip through the cracks? The fact that the lieutenant wasn't on assumption of command orders just blows my mind. It takes us 54 years.
Why does that, sir? That's the part that's blown my mind about this entire story. Not that I've read that regulation a couple of times, but last time I read that regulation, it said that anybody could put for an award
right,
who had witnessed an action that was above and beyond the call of duty.
Yeah, buddy, I don't have an answer for that one, because that's exactly where my mind went. Anybody can submit anybody for an award. I'm not even sure why this got so tangled up. And you've got, because the 638 has got to go through a process where people sign off on it, and he didn't have a company commander at the time. It just blows my mind that this thing got lost for so damn long. Anyway, so I get the packet, and I just sent a note. I sent a note to the CG out there at HRC and to the Army Adjutant General and said, "Hey, check it out. Hope all is well," and all that other stuff that we normally say back and forth. But hey, see attached. This is a wrong that we've got to fix. And really, that's my only contribution here was to open the door. So then of course you CC everybody on that, everybody that's underneath those folks. So a guy like Tom Campbell can come in and just exploit the seam and just get it done. People are hopping and popping at that point, and we just wanted to make sure we were able to spike the ball while it was, while we had the door open. And then we
were joking around.
We worked the ceremony.
Yeah, we were joking around before the show started about like NCOs and officers. And sir, I know you're, probably, but it takes an officer to do something, right? Like, and that's the nature of the beast. And we've met before in person. We know each other, but to do what you did, it doesn't seem, was it imposter syndrome, right? Like, it doesn't seem like
seems trivial.
It was that big of a deal, but you did it.
Yeah, any one of us would have done it. You know, I think that
Well,
many
I
times.
don't think that's true. And
Well,
that's the
anybody,
problem.
anybody here, and I mean, all of us would do that. I mean, all of us would do. But I would say that, you know, in many cases, we just don't know. Like when you hear this story, I mean, we're all like, you can hear a pin drop right now, right? When you hear this story, you're just like, okay, how can I help with this thing? It's just crazy. And many times we don't hear stories like, you know, this one is just blows you away. And we could debate, you know, whether it landed right. I think Tom and I agreed, okay, let's make sure we get a Valorous Award, and then we can, maybe there's a chapter 2 here. And I've seen how these go through. You know, when I was in the Pentagon, not to get off on a, but I remember when Secretary Esper what took over as our Secretary of the Army, and this is for everybody listening. And at that time, there was a move out there to elevate, to go and review these awards that were awarded from Iraq and from Afghanistan, and they were either Bronze Stars with Valor or Silver Stars, and grocery carts were being moved with files stacked above the top from the where I was at. It was the XO to the G3 from his office. Then it would go to the vice. It'd go to the chief. It'd go to the secretary, and all of them were rereading all of these files and revoting on whether or not it needed to be upgraded. Which actually was something that was it made me proud that the leaders at that time decided to dig all this stuff out. These are old awards, all in paper copy. And we were going to try to right the ship to take care of these individuals that had done stuff that was probably worthy of something higher. And, you know, and that maybe that happens down the road with this particular case. But what we couldn't do was, you know, kick the can farther down the road and at the risk of not doing something at all. And so, Tom gets 90% of the credit here. He really he brought it home.
Well, I think that the question that I had is, and you kind of touched on it, is this the end of the story, or are they, or is anybody pushing to get this award upgraded? Are they reviewing it, or what are they doing?
Well,
Yeah, so go ahead, Jerry.
well, right now, the best thing people told me is to wait until after January when you have a new president, and then my senator who originally put it in, he lost the election, so he won't be in office. So I also understand you don't have to go to your own senator or congressperson. It could be any senator or congressperson. So I need a senator or congressperson that believes in me and believes in my story and will take it all the way. And that's what I'm looking for.
Do we have anybody like that?
Yeah, we do.
You know what's mind blowing to me? It's so weird to me that we're even having this conversation. Like,
that's
the reason
reality.
it's weird to me that we're having to have this conversation about an award is what makes the culture in the Army, and I think we've all seen it, and probably the military, but all I can speak of is the Army. Like, why do we protect awards so vehemently? Well, certain awards, right?
Marine Corps is the same, buddy.
But we protect these awards as if
probably harder.
It comes from, like, we only have X amount that we can give out in the lifetime of the country. So we really have to be judicious about, and I get protecting the sanctity of the Medal of Honor. Completely understand. I get protecting the sanctity of the award, but it seems like there's it generally stops with some, like when you were talking about the HRC guy that was like, oh, there weren't assumption of command orders. Like, who the fuck are you, dude? Like, who are you? You're not anybody that has anything to do with anything other than administratively giving the award. If the people that were there and saw the action and recommended a certain award, the only thing that should be, there should be a group of people that maybe got that award, or a group of people that say, yeah, that meets a standard. But having some administrative clerk nerd say, no, the paperwork wasn't filed correctly, and so you can't get this award, blows my mind. And I've seen it in fifth group. At one point, they had an awards board. So they would send all these packets up to a bunch of people, and they would vote on whether the award was going to go through or not. First of all, you're nowhere in the list
Chain
of
of command
people
or approval
to
authority.
approve or deny an award. You're just some schmuck at S1. Why do you have a vote at any point on whether or not Jerry deserves a bronze star or a silver star or the Medal of Honor? Like, you don't even have a foundation that you can understand what he did and what he was going through when he did what he did, right? Like, how do you have and why does it take a general to make the Army do the bare minimum, the right thing? Like, it blows my mind that we're at that's where we're at, and that in order to get recognized for doing something that, you know what, if Jerry hadn't done what he did, absolutely nobody would have thought less of him.
Right. No, and you're opening up a can of worms that we can probably talk for 5 hours, 10,
Might not have even
10
been
days
anybody
about.
to care.
It's annoying
exactly.
and crazy
If
to
Jerry
me.
hadn't done what he hadn't done, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of people that were.
Yeah,
right
well,
into
and that's the other thing that also kind of blows my mind about this story. People of this generation of the GWAT, I don't even think that we can fathom.
No.
The
That's what the
award
Sergeant Major of the Army said. Yeah.
because everybody was dead. What?
We lost an entire division in Korea, an entire division.
We
Oh,
can't
look at the Marine Corps, Suicide Charlie in Vietnam.
understand that type of combat and war, but to have some dude at HRC that also doesn't understand it, like, well, there weren't this one paperwork technicality. Nah, we can't. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I don't know. Buddy, I don't know if we'll ever know. I mean, how it got, if it was a clerk or not. I will say that once it got to the appropriate level, it moved really fast. And
I think that's
faster than I've
the
seen
point
anything
that I'm kind of getting at is that why do people in between where it happened and the appropriate level have any type of vote? Pass the paperwork along. That's your job.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
the only counter I would offer is that, I don't disagree. If you're not within the chain of command, you probably don't have a whole lot to say with the paperwork. And when a award is submitted, it's got to go, right? It goes, and then there's decisions on whether or not it gets downgraded or whatever the case may be. I think what is important is when the leaders, I'm not talking about the administrators, the leaders, based off their experience, make a recommendation on whether or not it is worthy at a certain level. And that is to protect those that have received other awards of, because what you don't want to do is dilute all of that.
Right.
And I think, I've looked at literally thousands and thousands of awards, and I think we generally get it about 98% right in terms of like, okay, I think, and really what's powerful here is the sergeants majors. And they're in the mix. Every time I've been on one of those things, it goes through. And whatever, I'll tell you this, I can't think of a time where a CSM recommended either a downgrade or upgrade, and I disagreed with it. Once it made it through that CSM, I was like, okay, that's probably where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, like I said,
and you should have that trust, right?
Like, the people that aren't on that approval disapproval line, and or their sergeant major who's paid to be their advisor, have a vote. That's not your job.
The rest of them, they just need to get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I said, and back to it's almost like it kind of segues back to like the honesty cap that I did today. The people that
bringing yourself back to relevancy.
The people that tell all these DS stories and like they also dilute the what Jerry did, like, because what he did was it's a fact, it's witnessed, like everybody wrote it down, and he can't get the recognition for what he did because they're like, well, what about this guy who had 25 or 50 grenades in his backpack and was throwing them around? Well, that didn't happen. So you're just diluting what Jerry did by BSing all of these other stories. But again, like I said, it's crazy to me that it takes this long. Like you see, like guys get the Medal of Honor either posthumously because it
That's
had
a
been
big
so
word.
long that they were waiting around for it, that their son gets it, or their wives get it or whatever. Or you see guys that have to wait, like Jerry, like 50 years to get a Bronze Star with V, and it's just, I don't know, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
a
frustrating. And I think we can do a complete another show on this part alone. In now that I've retired, and now that Tom's retired and General Kline's getting there, so we can't say too much about it. But like when you see it from the outside, and you're like, you remember how efficient you were as a squad leader, even as a captain, as a colonel, how efficient you were as an individual, and then it gets to that bureaucracy point, right? And it's like, where did it go? Where did that person inside of you go that now you're not doing what's right? You're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Hey, Nick,
and I've seen it now as retired. I see things where I see a general officer say something, and then I see a sergeant major say something, and I'm retired, so I can kind of be like, cool, whatever. And you watch somebody in an S shop or a G shop completely ruin it. And it's like, what are you doing?
We need those folks, but they just have their role, right? They just don't need to be in the decision-making business. Hey, before we wrap up, though, I want to, if we could, I want to talk really quickly about the ceremony, because you had to be there. It was awesome.
It
was incredible. And I'll just sort of start something. So my in-laws are from South Philly, and they live right across the Walt-Whitman Bridge over there in South Jersey. And so we did this at the Naval Yard there in Philadelphia. And when I walked into this chapel, which is the Four Chaplains Chapel, and y'all need to look it up and read the story. It's an incredible story about four chaplains that gave their lives on a ship and handing out their own life preservers. And I walked in there, and that place was packed with people about Jerry's age. I'll just say that. They were seasoned, and they all had, lighter color hair. The whole room was packed with, our baby boomers out there. And you walked in there, and it just it was humbling for sure. So kudos to Tom and the whole team for setting that thing up. And when I walked in, Kiss was in his uniform. Jerry's in his greens with headgear on, and I just whispered to Jerry, you probably remember, I'm like, are we doing headgear on? Are we doing headgear on? Jerry's like, I want to wear my hat. And I'm like, okay, we are presenting arms. We got this. And so everybody.
You wear whatever the fuck you want, Jerry.
There's if you guys go on YouTube, Jerry Tempesto award ceremony, Patrick Hughes, he's a photographer, marine photographer. He put that part of it on YouTube. If you guys want to see it,
No, we have the video. We played it last show.
Oh, okay. But I'll tell you what. I could have went to the Pentagon, but I rather have my family and friends and all my congressional people be there in one place under the same roof in a beautiful chapel. It's very spiritual, and I can't explain the feeling that came over me when this all happened.
Right, and I'll do it, Jerry. Welcome home. We can't say it enough, and we can't honor our brothers and sisters enough. And we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing this show. We'll keep doing what we can to help promote people and their stories, because that's Tom knows this because he's been on a bunch of times that it really is. We just want to hear stories, and like Tom said, General Kline said, you could hear a pin drop. There's only been 2 times on this show where you could hear a pin drop. This was one. The other one was when Colonel Nightingale was talking about how he started SOCOM, right? And it was like we love to talk and we all just shut up,
Whole point, Nick made this show.
Yeah. Now, if you guys, Tom and the General, if you have a congressional person that would like to handle this, and anybody you know in the Pentagon can work with them or whatever, that would be great.
Jerry,
Jerry, I'll help
we've
you out
got
on that.
somebody.
I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna get on that on Monday, for sure. And then again, obviously, General Kline's. Again, I can't say it enough, and I'll do a quick hot wash where it takes a leader to just do it, right? Just do it, and then it changes, and then it takes, enlisted guys are leaders for sure, but we don't have any command authority. And, we just do it because that's what has been empowered to us. So, Tom, you know this, I don't need to blow smoke up your ass at all, but like, you knew what the right thing to do was.
Yep.
And like I said, I'll trust you with my life, just like a lot of people on the show would. But then it does. It takes a leader to just do it. And anybody listening, watching later on Spotify, all that stuff, if you're sitting there complaining about something and you've got some stuff on your chest, like, go do it. Just do it. Change it. And like I said, Jerry, welcome home. Thank you for sharing that story. Like I said, our largest demographic is your generation. And I know they're listening. I know they're going to watch later and listen on Spotify later. Thank you for sharing it again. And this time, where we're in a location where we could hear you and listen to you. Truly amazing. And one thing before I turn it over to Chris to close it out is I was in Hawaii. I was in the 25th. I was a first sergeant there. And we had we would bring the Vietnam veterans in and they would tell stories. And one of them got an award as a sergeant because they killed like 16 NVA. And like I said, a general flew in because they never actually had that body count where they had the bodies. And so when I hear that, it's like, I know where you're coming from. I know what the Wolfhounds did. I've listened to their stories. I know what Cacti did there. I know, so we'll do our best to get this out there. And again, if we fail, it doesn't matter. We're going to try.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure to be on your show.
Yeah. And that being said, I'll let Chris take over because I'll get emotional. I'll just bring it up real quick. Something came across my Facebook feed that was amazing to me, and Veteran Trash Talk, because of what we've done in our apparel that we sell and the sponsors that we have. I had the daughter of a good friend of mine that was killed in 2007, just got accepted for a study in Germany. And we were able to just cover that. So, Chris, take it over because, like I said, Roberto was a great friend of mine. So you got it.
So right here, thank you everybody for coming on. Thank you everybody for watching. Everybody that supports us, purchasing our merchandise. That subscribe right up that way. Yep, that way right there. $9.99 a month. It allows us to do things like we've got right here. It allows us to make dreams come true for our fallen brothers and sisters, families that don't have them anymore to support. Down at the bottom, you've got the 2 QR codes, PCS to Paradise, the Veterans Mortgage Source. Nick always talks about putting skin in the game. They do it so that we can do things like this. This little girl doesn't have her daddy anymore, but you know what she is able to do? Follow her dreams and carry on his legacy because of you, because of our viewers, because of our supporters, everybody, even 10th Mountain. If we didn't have 10th Mountain, Nick would not be half as funny as he is. So they help out as well. So we want to thank everybody. We've got the big girl right now wearing the OG dumpster fire, which is I lost it. Hold on. Let me find it. Oh, there we go. Big girl's got the OG dumpster fire. Buddy covered his up.
Yeah, well, I still have it on. So
but he does have this guy here. Our proceeds go to promote organizations. They go to promote gentlemen like Jerry to make sure that they are recognized the way they should be, to help out our fallen brothers and sisters, families that they're not there to help out anymore. So we're not in it to get rich. Would it be nice? Yeah, but that means we get to help more people. So best thing you can do is put the word out. Give us a follow, give us a share, like, subscribe, give us a review, because then that means more people see us. which means more sponsors see us, which means we get to help more people, which is the entire reason we have this out here. And Jerry, we're going to give you last word.
It was great being on the show. I know you reach a lot of people. I'm sure there's other veterans beside myself that were never recognized properly. And I hope that they also get recognized properly also.
Again, thank you, General Kline. Thank you, Tom, for giving up your hunting Saturday for us. I know it's important. Again, thank you, Jerry, for everything. He's still got time. There you go. Welcome home. As always, buddy Nick, it's been a pleasure. This is the Baker saying, see you later.
All right. Love